Get free skins by participating in our daily giveaways and item drops. Play coin flip and double your skins. Battle with other players and win big jackpots. Get the most points in our leaderboard and win awesome prizes. Invite your friends and earn free coins. The best place to battle your Dota to skins. DotaToHunt.com.
Hey guys, Bowie here, and this is Things I've Learned with Gorgc PA. Now that Gorc is using his YouTube channel more, it's way easier to get footage of him commenting and talking about his games. I love commenting and filling the gaps of stuff he said on his games but maybe didn't fully expand on.
No, you fuck!
So hopefully this series is of your liking. We start the game with this fight. You can see the Wyvern open with Arctic Burn, so after the first use, she's useless for 50 seconds. That's why Gorc doesn't even bother chasing more. He can get debated and also the creeps already met top. Kinda flirts with maybe using Wyvern as bait, but he eventually gives up and goes to the creeps. After that, we see a kill attempt on the Doom. This is a common way to prevent kills early, so as a support, take note from this Disruptor that not only almost saves the Doom, but buys time where Gorc is not CSing lane creeps.
No, you fuck! I need the first blood, fuck!
Gorc gets irritated that his Wyvern gets the kill, and that's warranted. First blood specifically can have great impact in Chuakor's game, so leaving that Chuakor is usually preferred, but later on, Gorc finds a pretty smart way to make up for that by asking the Wyvern to buy regen for him and thus effectively giving him the gold that he didn't get.
Thing is, just the problem is, guys, Wyvern, I want you to buy like 2 salves and tangles, no? I don't know. I need him to buy regen for me now because I cannot afford to buy it.
It's not only about spending mana and losing HP, but the creeps he lost during the chase. Usually, if you get the kill, then you have payoff for all of those creeps. Not in this scenario. After the bounty rune, another skirmish happens and Gorc plays it quite beautifully. Note that he has no regen and Disruptor shows as Doom gets engaged. So what he does is actually wait the fight out a little bit instead of committing straight away and taking all the damage from those spells. He doesn't have a stick, he doesn't have any Fairy Fires. So that's smart. By waiting, he joins as Doom is really close to getting a Wyvern kill, so he doesn't feel compelled to aid the Disruptor, and Gorc, by saving the dagger on the last attack, saves his ally whilst getting a second kill.
I'm gonna go Vlad's first because I have Magnus and power. I don't want to go Battlefield or anything like that.
In the stream, Gorc says he's going Vlad's. Later, we can see him queuing a Yasha, until a point he goes for a Battle Fury. I think this is a really important concept a lot of players don't grasp well. Builds are fluid and everything can work, but they have to be linked with how the game is going. Vlad's is the standard item when you have a Magnus in your team and the game is even, but Gorc is 3-0-1 and the game is 4-10, so he jumps 1 degree of greediness by queuing a Yasha. Yasha allows PA to reach camps faster, the stats synergize well with Empower, and the attack speed is nice. Notice that Gorc joins a 3 vs 2 fight, which usually isn't a great thing to do, but he has vision of Timber mid, and he's out-leveling Radiant quite a bit.
Lich top. You wanna fight them here? I'm in level 7, Doom's level 5.
And with a TP rotation, they get 3 kills easily. Another thing to mention as we watch the fight is the fact that even though he killed Yasha and has gold for some of the components, he still feels like he's snowballing more and more. And because he doesn't fully commit to the Yasha, he can actually decide to go Battle Fury. If you just buy any item that you queue at all times, you might not have the luxury of snowballing even further. After that fight and with the Broom Handle drop, he changes his mind to the Battle Fury as I talked about.
Nice. You can really get carried by neutral items on PA if you get the right ones. Broom Handle's great. Now I kinda wanna greed, boys. I actually kinda wanna greed now. I wanna go Battle Fury. I got such good neutral items in the beginning that I feel like I don't need anything else to fight.
Battle Fury is great this game. While he has Empowered, the spell is way worse than it used to be, and ideally you always want the Lifesteal talent over the Cleave one, meaning he can get the extra Cleave to deal with PL, while still having Lifesteal against illusions and farming really fast. Battle Fury's mana regen is in parallel, since there's no mana regen item in the game besides maybe Vlad's that you want to build despite Battle Fury. It's greedy, but the game allowed him to be greedy. One thing he mentions that's really cool, but unfortunately he didn't pull off, is countering Timbersaw with the Ironwood tree.
Yeah, no stacks.
Oh, I actually had to play there. I could have placed Ironwood tree in front of him so he couldn't jump away.
That's a really good item to have against Timbersaw if you're playing a melee hero, and I'm just including this to illustrate his point.
Like, this is the reason we go Battlefield, because we get it at 15 minutes, and all of a sudden I'm a 15-minute Battlefield PA. Really aids for them.
You can see Gorc talking about why he went Battle Fury, and he's quite right. They're already winning fights anyways, and by going Battle Fury, the PL power spike that comes around level 15 with his HP talent, Diffusal, and maybe Ayasha is way weaker, since you have the means to explode him probably until his heart gets done. Another interesting thing I want to mention I read in chat is people asking why he went Manta this game. As we talked about earlier, Manta is really good item because of the stats on Yasha, move speed, and also the Dispel. If you have Manta, you can sometimes blink plus Manta away from Disruptor to dispel the Thunderstrike so he doesn't glimpse you. The Dispel is awesome, and it's a greedy farming item that balances mana, strength, and damage. It's also decent versus Doom, since you can cancel the animation of Doom when his hands are in the air, buying you time to blink away. That can also be done with Blur, but in this skirmish, Gorc was using it to scout. It's quite greedy that he engages on Doom here. Notice that no one was showing, and while the Manta buys some time when he gets ulted from the Disruptor, he's just an easy target for the Doom. He gets lucky and survives to turn around, but even Gorc knows how greedy he was.
I was so bad of me to go in there, dude. Holy shit, I regretted it so much. Thank God I survived anyways.
Gorc decides to go Axe this game, and while he says it's throwy,
Let's just get Basher. I wanted to try X. Pretty throwy though, but I'll do it anyways.
I'm here to defend Axe on PA. Not in this game necessarily, but as a really good item against heroes you want to constantly dispel things that are not silences. Let's say you're playing against a Pangolier. Swashbuckle has a really low cooldown, and if he has Axe, he can proc the Disarm with W as soon as you dispel it with, I don't know, your Manta. You don't want to BKB for a Swashbuckle, and while Manta is decent, it costs a lot of mana and has a prohibitive cooldown. Axe gives you a 12-second Dispel, and speaking of the Dispel, the fact that you disappear works decently versus Doom, since now Gorc has 2 ways to cancel the backswing of Doom, and so being way less likely to tank the spell. That spell is also decentish versus the stats removal from Timber, attack speed slow from Lich, Infernal Blade, and the Thunderstrike, not even counting the split push opportunities that you get. That said, I mean, I'm not defending Axe this game, and I don't think the item is core by any means, but against the likes of Pugna, Pangolier, Oracle's Disarm, Ember, it can be really good. Eventually this big fight starts as they siege, but I want to focus on the fight after his Aegis expires. The beauty of a low cooldown Blur is how easy it is for Gorc to always pop it and go in unnoticed. He can engage and try to protect Wyvern here, but the important part happens after the fight. Because he is blurred, Radiant's vision is useless, knowing that Doom and Static Storm are down, Dire can now just go in, siege high ground, and yeah, the game is pretty much over at this point. Guys, thank you very much for watching, commenting, and subscribing. I think a lot of you guys were traveling, so I want to talk about a video I made with Analog. It's the Bible of Mid, focusing on Invoker. This is a video that took a long time for us to make, and I'm really proud of it, so I'm just gonna, leave it here in case you guys are interested. Thank you all for watching, have a good one, bye. Our format in this video is to discuss 9 matchups we feel are important for the hero. We arrange them into easy, even, and hard matchups, so that you can not only recognize them, but adapt accordingly. We'll start with the easy matchups first, and our first hero to talk about is Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit is one of the matchups where Invoker benefits way more from playing Quas-Wax instead of X or Quas. Not only your Tornado can dispel Flame Guard, but you offer more control when you completely crush the lane versus him. When we're talking starting items, you want to go with a pretty standard build with a slight twist. Most intelligence mid heroes start with double Mantle of Intelligence and 1 Circlet, and that's usually true for Exort Invoker, but when you're playing Invoker Quas-Wax, Urn is one of your biggest allies, and thus, to get to that power spike faster, you only build 1 no talisman. But you still get a second Circlet because, you want that for the laning, and you can turn that into an Urn later down the line. One really subtle but game-changing tip Analog has is no warding your mid lane versus Ember, and that might seem weird, but it makes perfect sense. Just hear me out. You see, Ember has no way to harass Invoker. The only thing he can do in that matchup is draw aggro, hoping that he's far away enough to take less harass and get creeps. But you cannot aggro anything at all times. If you're invisible, for instance, the creeps don't have vision of you, so even if you try to right-click an enemy hero again and again and again, you're not going to aggro it. If the creeps are in the low ground and you don't have a ward in your side of the map, and we're talking Invoker, Ember cannot draw aggro. The only way for Ember to draw aggro is to move down, where the creeps have vision, to the low ground, risking more harass, taking spells, only for the small chance to get CS. This, my friends, is a pro tip. So yeah, don't bother warding the lane in this matchup and instead just get ready for blocking. Some heroes can aid in the rune fights, but Invoker not only is an awful level 1 hero, he's also really slow, meaning you will probably miss CS or be forced to TP. You don't want to do that, just focus on blocking, especially because when you're playing Quas-Wex, your CS in the first wave is way worse than Ember. By getting a good block, you have the ability to draw aggro to your tower and not be challenged by Ember's better attack damage and also melee attack range, meaning he's always much more effective at denying and getting creeps. And since this is an easy matchup, you want to start the best way possible. You don't want him getting any denies, so you can get level 2 in the second wave, and then you have the ability to stop Ember doing the only thing he can do to get a range creep, using Flame Guard. Skill build wise, you always want to start with Quas instead of Wex. EMP is an awful spell level 1, and the attack speed is deceptively bad this early since you have no raw damage, whereas Quas allows you to trade much better because of the HP regen, and Quas can also be used as a way to prevent Ember from denying a range creep by cancelling his attack animation with Cold Snap,
or preventing Ember from getting the range creep the same way, just like Analog does here.
At level 3, you want to have 2 points of Quas and 1 of Wex. The HP regen is still